What's up, everybody? I am Jesse, or Game Over Jesse, as all of you may know me. We have Sexy McIntyre here. We have
Hello.
Our co-host, Daniel.
Hello.
We have a YouTube Zelda content creator. I don't like the term YouTuber, so I use content creator. Hylian Luke.
Hello.
Yeah. We have a competition, giveaway, whatever you want to call it, going on with our friends at the YouTube channel Nintendo Prime, where in just a few clicks down below, go to the Gleam URL in the comments below, click it. There's 5 ways for you to enter to win the $20. You just go through and click each of the boxes. It'll subscribe you to our YouTube channels. It'll let you follow us on Twitter, and it'll tweet out a message sharing the giveaway. There's already been over 1,000 entries in just 2 days. So because it's doing so well, we are going to continue the giveaway. So if you enter this one and you don't win, which again, you have 5 ways to enter if you have YouTube and Twitter. So 5 different ways to enter. We're going to be doing other giveaways. As soon as this one ends, we're going to be doing one with Zelda Master. So yeah, go and try to win, guys. Good luck. But on today's video, we're going to be discussing, also want to point out, if you're watching this video in the future, so like a month or 2 from now, you're watching this video from the day that it posts on August 12th is when we're recording live, we're still going to have these giveaways going. So just go to the newest video that we have on the channel, and there should be a Gleam link and whatever the newest videos are, because we're going to constantly be doing these giveaways with different YouTube channels, Twitch channels. We've talked to Zelda Master, Miss Click, Nintendo Prime, RMFH, a bunch of really awesome people. We even talked to Luke here about doing the giveaways as well, the collaboration between our channel. So head to the newest video, click the URL so you can enter. But sorry for the hold up. We're going to be talking about our Twilight Princess review. So we're going to have this video talking about 5 things that we loved the most about Twilight Princess. We're each going to give one thing that we loved about the game, and then collectively say something. And then the second part to this video, because we don't want to be biased, we're a Zelda channel. We know if you go to a Zelda review on a Zelda channel and it's all love for Zelda, you're going to be like, well, this is stupid. It's a bunch of Zelda fanboys just geeking out over Twilight Princess. So we have a counter argument to this video talking about the 5 things that we hated the most about this Zelda game, similar to the format of the way that we review videos on our channel normally, where we talk about the top 10 best and worst of a game. Because typically if a game's a 10 out of 10, there's not many people that's going to say bad stuff about it. But even if a game is a 9 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10, there's still some bad stuff about the game. It's just the good stuff overwhelms and makes up for the shortcomings of the bad stuff, so a lot of people don't mention it. So to keep it from being biased and to keep it a fair review, we're going to list 5 things on each, even if the bad things kind of sound like we're nitpicking. So let us know in the comments below what you loved and what you hated about the game. And then after this video, check out the second part talking about the 5 things that we hate about Twilight Princess. So starting with you, Luke, you are our guest. What do you love about Zelda Order Twilight Princess?
I would say the something I love about Twilight Princess is the different items and just different areas that you get to go to in the game. Because we've got areas that were going to be in Ocarina of Time but weren't because of limitations or release date or whatever. But we've got like Snow Peak, Death Mountain, we've got Faron Woods, Ordon, we got Gerudo Desert, the Arctic Grounds, and then we've got Lake Hylia. Lake Hylia is beautiful. It's a lot bigger than Lake Hylia was in Ocarina of Time. Just all of the different areas when I first played it, and even now, whenever I revisit those areas, I just love looking at everything and appreciating just how vast it was at the time.
Yeah, definitely one of the biggest, or definitely the big Zelda game to date at that point.
Yeah.
At least.
This is a bit off topic, but last week there was jokes again about the first time that we had like an all-female host on the podcast. Everyone made the joke about the Hylian Babes cast instead of the Hylian Games cast. And then last week it was myself and Nintendo Box Maka, but we had 2 female hosts, and then at the end of it Maka had to leave, so it was just the 2 hosts. But this time it's like the guys took over. So sorry, I just now noticed that. Anyways,
Broly and Gamescast.
yeah, the Hylian Bros cast.
The dude's cast.
Yeah. So,
Oh,
Connor, Daniel, what do you guys think about what Luke loves about Twilight Princess?
I think it's pretty
Yes.
good. Got some good locales in the game.
All right.
A lot of variety in the locations too.
Yeah.
That's something I think people kind of overlook.
Oh,
because a lot of
and I
people say
told-
it's like bleak, but no, it's good. It's a good mix.
Yeah.
Sorry, Luke, you were gonna say.
Yeah, and I totally forgot. One of my favorite areas in the game in general is going through the door in the the Broken Temple of Time, and going back in time to back when it was around in the era of Ocarina of Time. I just thought that was super cool, and it's got the original Ocarina of Time, Temple of Time soundtrack that plays, and then you like put the Master Sword back in the pedestal and makes the staircase rise. And when you go back there, it makes me think that when you go into the actual dungeon of the Temple of Time, that actually is the true Temple of Light that was going to be in Ocarina of Time.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really cool because there was no Temple of Light in Ocarina of Time, but then you go inside of the dungeon of the Temple of Time, and there it is. And plus, the Light Medallion is everywhere in there. So
Yeah. So the thing with that is the Chamber of Sages that you get warped to when you first put the sword in and take the sword out is you get warped to the Chamber of Sages. The Chamber of Sages is a room inside the Temple of Light. So in A Link Between Worlds and Ocarina of Time, you technically visit the Temple of Light, but you don't see the outside of the Chamber of Sages room.
Right.
So theoretically, somewhere in the Twilight Princess Temple of Time dungeon or the Temple of Light, there should be, again theoretically, the Chamber of Sages somewhere. Which could explain why everything, like the puzzles and stuff, has to do with like ancient magic and everything inside the dungeon. Personally, I was hoping the Temple of Time would have had more time-based puzzles, kind of like what we've seen in Skyward Sword. Like the Lineru mining facility had a lot of time-based dungeons, so like the Temple of Time, I expected it to be time-based puzzles, but it wasn't. Anyways, another cool thing about the entrance to the dungeon section is the staircase that goes up to the window is the same window that Navi flies through at the end of Ocarina of Time. So like Link goes through that same window, which theoretically should mean that when Navi left, everyone asked, where did Navi go? Technically, I guess that should have taken her to that temple or the Chamber of Sages, since like they're both through there. And then obviously
she went into the dungeon and Zalfos ate her.
Yeah, so the Temple of Time is the entrance to the Chamber of Sages. The Chamber of Sages is inside the Temple of Light. The Temple of Light is inside the Sacred Realm. So there's like a lot of stuff there that people don't like necessarily make those connections. So that's cool to think about. Anyways, Connor, what is the thing that you love about the vampire movie? Twilight.
Vampire.
No, there's vampire, like... No, I was gonna say Fi. Impa, not Impa, the imp form... Yeah, I was thinking Impa. So the imp form of Midna has, like, vampire teeth. So,
yeah.
kind of...
I forgot about
vampire.
that.
Yeah.
She's
So, yeah,
got sharp teeth.
what's the
Yeah,
thing that you love?
Probably just the character design in that game, because like Wolf Link looks great, and Link has a really nice like feel to him. Like just the way that the character models look. Though the townspeople are a little bit on the Nightmare Fuel side.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah. They
But
look
I
like...
definitely think it looks so good in that game.
The townsfolk look like they were designed with like a Nightmare Before Christmas in mind, because they have like unusual
Yeah, like
head
a Tim
shapes
Burton
and
kind of
stuff. Yeah. So one thing a lot of people don't know about Twilight Princess is there's a guy, not Rupel, that's not his name. I forgot his name, but he's the guy that has the Rupee game with the hook shot and stuff.
Right, the Star game.
He has the he's supposed to be the realistic version of Tingle. So when Miyamoto and Aonuma designed him, like he has the compass watch thing around his neck, and like his clothes is all dressed on what they said would be what Tingle looked like if he was depicted as a real person. So I always thought that was really interesting, that like technically Tingle's in Twilight Princess, he just has a different name, similar to how
And a very different personality.
similar to how Zelda is in Wind Waker, but she just has a different name. Like she's still Zelda. Ganondorf even calls her Princess Zelda. The king calls her Princess Zelda, but legally, I guess her name is Tetra. So in this game, it's kind of the same thing, to where he is Twilight Princess's version of Tingle. It's just he looks realistic instead of and then he has a job instead of just being a map drawer person. Anyways, character designs are really cool in Twilight Princess.
Yes.
I'd like to see a Twilight Princess version of Groose. Yeah.
He's on the loose.
Yeah. So
He's on the list.
I agree though. Like it's my favorite design for Link. Zelda across all Zelda. Just this tunic is very detailed.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't like it when I say this, but I didn't like the baggy pants in Skyward Sword.
So they made a big deal about you can see the stitching, and because you said like it's the most realistic, but like in
Like, just
the
very detailed design.
one of the press releases for Twilight Princess, it was like called The Legend of Zelda tentative title at the time,
Right.
because they didn't have
And they had
a
like
name
the
for
old
it.
Ocarina
Yeah.
of Time logo basically.
But he had they made a big deal about how you could see like the individual stitching on his chainmail and everything. So I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, I mean you can kind of see it because it was like really low res
Yeah.
the GameCube, but for the time it was really good.
Connor, what was your favorite character design? Since the character design was the thing that you loved the most, what was your favorite character design in the game?
Man, I'd say probably Zelda, just because of the way she
No,
like just the flowing, like everything.
she's my least favorite version of Zaldor.
Oh really?
Yeah, maybe it's just her personality or attitude.
Like,
She
they
doesn't
just
really
look at
have much
if you look at
personality in the
character
game.
design though. Like she looks really nice actually.
Mm-hmm.
Like just the way
Well, why don't you
that
just
her
marry
hairpieces
her
look
then?
with. Well, you know what? I would if I could.
Well, you shouldn't just marry someone for how they look, Jesse.
Also,
Oh?
like the designs of her with her sword are actually like really cool. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the nice shoulder guards and the really nice design on her like midsection of her dress. Or like it shows like the Triforce and the symbol. It's really nice. Plus, even like the frills on the bottom have like little designs on them that are really cool.
I feel like the Hyrule Warriors version of Zelda is slightly based off of the Twilight Princess Zelda.
I think so.
Yeah.
Except they were like, okay, we're gonna take Zelda's design and give her cleavage. Hyrule
Yep.
Warriors, everybody.
That's what it was.
I
All
want
the
to see a
girls.
little
had-
bit of thigh too, and then there we go. We made the Zeldor.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, like I
Just
said,
saying.
that even on the Hyrule Warriors one, it shows the the little bit on the midsection of her dress. That's
Yeah.
the same design, basically.
It is. Just Team Ninja got a little. They got excited when making some of the characters in that game. That's the
Yeah,
best.
they got a
That's the
little,
way I
little
can
more
put
creative, let's say.
yes.
All right.
Okay,
Did you have
guys,
anything else to
knuckle
add,
down.
Daniel?
No.
No. All right. Luke, what is your favorite character design?
I would have to say my favorite character design is gonna be kind of weird, because I really like the weird looking characters in Twilight Princess. There's a lot of like weird.
Don't
looking
say the
characters.
clowns. Don't
It's
say
not-
the clowns,
It's
Luke.
not the clowns. It's not the clowns. It's not the. That's too weird. That's out of my zone. No, I thought
Deku Crossing says Sia.
for some reason. I
Wait, is that
thought-
the bug lady?
I
Sia?
thought that's Agatha.
I get
Yeah.
no. Sia is
Sia's
the
just in Hyrule
villain
Warriors.
in Hyrule Warriors.
Yeah, she's just
Kind of what I was saying about their creative costume design.
Maybe it's because we just mentioned like maybe she's just saying her favorite design overall.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So Luke, what were you saying?
I was gonna say I really like the design of Malo, just because he's just like
Oh,
this
no.
little baby. He's just this little baby,
So
but, he's,
creepy.
but he's like running a huge business in Hyrule Castle Town.
No.
He got everybody dancing to the Malo Mart jingle. It was just super weird, but I loved it.
That's where they have they
Yeah.
put the Breath of the Wild stuff in there. In
That's true.
the
But
HD
yeah,
version.
this little weird looking creepy baby and is this business tycoon.
And he has like that stern. He's like sassy, kind of annoyed by everything you do.
Mhm.
I don't know. I just really liked him. He was funny.
All right, Luke, what is your most loved part of Breath of the Wild? So you were talking about what you loved the most. So start off where you left off before my thing froze up.
I don't remember. We were talking. I think I was talking about for like the character designs in Twilight Princess.
No. Your thing that you loved the
Oh,
most
he-
about Twilight Princess.
He said the
Yeah,
locales and stuff
yeah.
already.
I said the locations.
Oh,
and
that was
stuff.
you first. So Daniel, it's your
Got
turn.
too derailed. What I love about Twilight Princess. So, Twilight Princess has probably some of the best dungeon design of any Zelda game. It is some of the most creative puzzles, and though the dungeon design does follow a bit of a formula, it's executed really well. And that's always something when I think back, like, okay, when I think back on like, what do I want to go play Twilight Princess for? What's the reason I want to go back and play it? It always comes back to the dungeons. They're so fantastic in that game. And I love that they're not just all like, this is the temple of this element and this is the temple of this element. They get really creative, like these are Goron's mines, this is this abandoned mansion, this is like they're very unique locations that are really built into the world of the game with a lot of implied backstory that you don't even learn about, but it's like implied to be there as
Yeah.
well. And I love the dungeons. That's the, in my opinion, one of the best things about the game.
Yeah, they're not just random dungeons there for
Mhm.
no reason. Like they actually
Yeah.
have a purpose. Like being the Yeti's house, or like the place that
Yeah.
the Zoro worship, or
Yeah, or the Arbitrage's Grounds, like a prison that's defunct, abandoned. Yeah.
So I will say the Temple of Light, Temple of Time, however you want to call it. I want to read the Japanese name for it and see if it's called the Temple of Light. And then they
I think
just
it's
made it the
probably just
Temple
called
of Time.
Temple of Time, but
Yeah.
I don't
So
know.
the thing with that should be another thing with the different medallions. They should have like the light medallion, but then there should have also been the time medallion in Ocarina of Time.
that like Zelda would give you, I guess, as the last sage.
Well, like, so
or that Rory would give you that one, and Zelda would
in
have the light
Ura,
medallion.
so in the Ura expansion, there is supposed to be the light dungeon where you would get the light medallion. So maybe there would have been, because we don't know what the other dungeons were. There was like the wind dungeon, the ice dungeon, rumors of a sky dungeon,
Right.
which would have been, I guess, the wind dungeon. So like there's all these different things. So maybe there would have been, like how there's the wind medallion and then all the stuff. Anyways, it's just random thoughts. So what was your favorite dungeon, since you like the dungeons the most?
Gosh, narrowing it down to just one of them. I feel like Arbiter's Grounds is really fun. I think it's a really good dungeon. With like a really neat structure and premise. Like it's almost like the dungeon. It's almost like two dungeons actually in one. The first one being like the first section where it's basically like, okay, you are into the main hall, the 4 Poes, you gotta hunt down all 4 Poes, and which direction and order, I think you can actually do them in different orders. It doesn't have to be like one linear order, but you basically have the 4 objectives to find. And then you move on into the next room, and then it's kind of a different linear twisting dungeon after that. But one of the things is that that's one of the only dungeons where it really uses the mechanic of Link having its transformation being required for the dungeon. Almost all the other dungeons, I don't think well, the first 3 you can't yet. And then I think the other ones after that, you don't really need to for very much. But this dungeon put kind of an emphasis on that, which is a great mechanic in the game, to be able to freely transform back like that. And so you kind of go into this dungeon feeling quite like a powerful Link, because you've just trudged through Arbiter's Grounds exterior, where you fought all these bokoblins, or no, they're bulbins outside, and you've just got the Master Sword, and now you have this new ability to transform back. And the puzzles in there are really neat with that. So I really like the Arbiter's Grounds as one of the really strong dungeons in that game.
All right.
Yes.
What was your favorite dungeon, Luke?
Well, before I do mine, I just want to say that your idea was awesome. I really like that dungeon too, especially the boss, Stalord. That was an incredibly fun boss.
The Beyblade battle.
The Beyblade battle with the Volvagia music. Oh,
yes. No, the music in that gets you pumped. I love it.
Yeah, it does. It's like very adrenaline rushing. But my favorite dungeon, I would have to say, is the Temple of Time. Like, I just love getting to that part. Just the entire atmosphere. I love the whole idea of going to the past. I love the idea of like going through history and like being a part of something that once was. And
also, I'm back.
Welcome back. Finally. Welcome back.
Mac is back.
Mac is back.
Yeah, so a quick recap. Daniel said his favorite thing were the dungeons. So now we're talking about what each of our favorite dungeon is. Luke, continue.
Alright. Yeah, I just really love the Temple of Time because the whole going into the dungeon and it's basically like a big long hallway, and then you have to traverse back through the entire hallway. Because you go all the way down to the last room. You have to go solve all these puzzles without at the time you don't have the Dominion Rod, but then you go all the way to the end into the sub boss room, and you fight a Darknut for the first time.
Great battle too.
And that is super awesome. They're a lot more intense to fight than in Wind Waker. In either one, they're still a blast to fight. But in Twilight Princess, it's just a lot more challenging because they actually look threatening, because it looks like this big, heavy knight, and they've got this big club, and they're ready to pound you in the face with it. And but once you defeat him, you get the Dominion Rod, and then you use the Dominion Rod, and you get the statue, and you basically just wreak havoc through all the other rooms. You just break everything in your path with the statue until you get all the way back to the boss area, and you fight Armagoma, in which you could possess those giant statues and just pound it into the ground. I loved that. It was so satisfying to just pound it. Plus, I have slight arachnophobia, so it was super satisfying to just watch this giant spider suffer from the wrath of God. I loved that. But yeah,
I always found that to be one of the weaker fights in that game, but like the way you putting it that way, I can see it definitely being far more entertaining.
And then plus when you defeat Armagoma, it's like, oh, I defeated the boss. Oh, nope, no, you didn't. There's like the true Armagoma, and it's like that little spider with the big body of the eye with all of its babies, and then you have to kill that. But yeah, I really liked that dungeon.
All right, Connor, what's your favorite dungeon in Twilight Princess?
Honestly, I don't know. It's kind of a hard choice, you know.
It is.
I would say probably the ice dungeon. I really like
the Snow Peak Temple or Snow Peak Ruins mansion, the Yeti house, the soup dungeon.
So I will say the sky city temple thing was really fun.
Oh yeah.
The Sky Dungeon's really cool. And then the boss fight's kind of epic. Like, you couldn't do much with the dragon on the GameCube's hardware. So, like, the dragon had to remain stationary because, again, the GameCube hardware is very limited. But it would have been, like, they could have made that 10 times better, but as it was still really cool. They did as much as they could with the limitations they had. Where like on the PlayStation, and like on the PlayStation 3, there's like giant dragons like in Skyrim flying around everywhere. But because this wasn't like at the time the next gen hardware, they had to keep it sort of simple.
I love what they got just clock shotting the back of that dragon and then just stabbing it in the back. I loved that. It was so satisfying.
And then I just like the ice dungeon. There's like the ice block puzzles return. There's some cool stuff. They kind of kept sending you on little fetch quests, and then the main boss was right in front of you the whole time. So it was really interesting.
Oh yeah.
What?
Some soup.
Oh yeah. So I guess that comes to me. So the last best thing, I guess, about the game, I would say, is the story.
The story.
Yeah, for the first time.
It's good.
For the first time, the Zelda game makes you care about your partner. Like, no one ever really cared about Ezlo from Minish Cap. I don't think. Like,
I kind of did.
Care about him more so than like a normal character. Like, he wasn't bad, but he wasn't necessarily good for me. The boat and Wind Waker, like, I didn't really care.
Like the boats.
I did, but
I like him.
Like the King of Hyrule.
Like, hey.
Hey.
You remember when he said, "Hey"?
Yeah, but like I think
you can't forget.
I think they did a lot better job with Midna though. Because you use her for gameplay, you use her for story elements. There's more of a connection with the character, so when she leaves at the end, it doesn't feel like it's just rehashing the same thing from Ocarina of Time where your partner leaves you. In this, it feels like there's more weight to it because there was a lot more of a connection where there was all the back and forth with that. And then the story itself was had a huge plot twist in it, which Ocarina of Time had a plot twist where like you end up becoming an adult and you get to see how everything's changed. So in a way that's sort of a plot twist, but in Twilight Princess it's like, oh no, it was Ganondorf the entire time, where you thought the big bad guy was Zant. So your first time playing it, if you weren't spoiled, then when you get to that moment, it's like a rush of nostalgia coming back to you. So I thought that was really cool. So collectively, what is the best thing about, because we need the fifth, so we each had one individually, so what is something we can all decide was great about Twilight Princess?
I want to just say
The music.
Oh, the items. The music's good. The items are also good.
I mean, the ball and chain was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, the items were very unique. Ball and chain, the spinner, bomb arrows were an actual thing, not just a glitch.
Yep.
Or not necessarily a glitch, but a bug, whatever you want to call it. So that was really cool. Yeah, so I guess we can move on to the last thing. What we hated. We can try to get through this one a little bit quicker.
Sure.
Instead of talking about what we, like in this case, like one person said they liked the dungeons and then we all talked about what we liked about the dungeons. We'll just individually say what we disliked and then move on.
Okay.
To make it go quicker. So
Sure.
Hey everyone, it's me again, Elia Rose. I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching this video. And you know what? If you're a fan of videos like this, you should totally subscribe and give this video a like. And comment below to let us know what type of videos you would like to see us create in the future. And if you would really like to support all of us here at the Game Over Jesse channel, please consider purchasing a Game Over Jesse t-shirt or becoming a Patreon at patreon.com/GameOverJesse, where you can receive many rewards, such as getting shoutouts, having any topic or theory that you select discussed on the podcast or made into its own video, having your question answered, joining on as a guest on the podcast, and playing with us during our Twitch live streams at twitch.tv/GameOverJesse, and much, much more.